Okay, so welcome back. All right. At the last session, we talked about performance management. We talked about the important and the critical areas to look at when conducting a performance management system. We talked about how critical it is to organizations' growth, sustainability, and even transgenerational activities. We talked about how it's also important to employees' performance, growth, and development. Now, let's talk about and answer the question before we wrapped up in the last session, which is that is performance management and performance appraisal the same? As an HR practitioner, you're going to be hearing a lot of performance management, performance appraisal, performance evaluation. And the question is that is it the same? And the thing is that both are different concepts. Performance management and performance appraisal are two different concepts. We had defined and explained what performance management is. Now, performance management is a broader term, okay? So when you hear PM, when you hear PMA, performance management appraisal, performance management. So performance management is a broader term which includes appraisal as a part of the performance management system. So performance management appraisal or performance management evaluation is just a part of it. Okay, it's part of the exercise, the entire concept, the entire exercise, the entire process or system. Okay, so performance appraisal is a systematic way of determining or describing an employee's strengths and weaknesses. Okay, once you have carried out a performance appraisal or a performance appraisal exercise, what shows you is that it systematically describes the employee's strength as well as her weaknesses. It also shows you the opportunities and also the possible threats in the future when certain things are not covered. So performance management appraisal is an important component of the entire performance management system. I hope this is clear. Now, in contributing to organizational growth and development, performance management must be considered. Please do not set it aside. Do not say it is not important. In short, for Lighthouse HR Company, our slogan is total performance management, which covers management for organization as well as performance management organizational wise, as well as performance management for the entire employees. And finally, we can never leave this out, performance management for as regards the structure, as regards the processes, as regards the procedures within the organization for a successful transgenerational business. Okay, now in contributing to an organizational success through performance management, motivation to perform is increased. So where you carry out a successful performance appraisal exercise towards a broader performance management goal accomplishment, motivation to perform is increased. If you are able to find the weakness of an employee and her strength, you leverage the strength, you help the employee to build on their weaknesses, to make adjustments where necessary. You see that this employee is motivated. Where the organization is looking, for example, at her financials, is looking at her growth trajectory, is looking at her journey based on a performance management evaluation exercise, the company also is motivated. The owners of the company is also motivated to move forward, to do more. All right. So performance management also contributes to the organization by increasing the employee's self-esteem and also the value in terms of perception of the business. So managers, supervisors gain insight about their subordinates, about their employers. Then, you simplify the job of the employees, of your colleagues. As an HR practitioner, performance management helps you to help the employees to simplify their task. Organizational goals are clear because, of course, these are determined, these are stated, these are communicated as they ought to be so that all employees and the employer can do the needful. All right, then employees become more competent. So where you set aside and discard performance management and you say it's not important, employees will either become redundant because they're not even showing that they are growing. But when performance management exercise, the entire system as well as the appraisal exercise is carried out, is considered as a critical function in the human resource space and also in the office, you find out that you begin to build competent employees. Then it also shows you that you can differentiate between good performance poor performance or non-performance at all. Okay. When you carry out a performance management appraisal exercise, it will show you, it will give you clear-cut differentiation between those who are performing poorly, those who are not performing at all, those who are underperforming, and those who are performing optimally. And then it also helps you and tells you what next to do with these categories of people. Same also with your organization. So performance are also communicated. You know, those that are doing well, you let them know. Those that are doing poorly, you let them know by showing empathy. Those that are underperforming, you let them know and show them how best they can perform. Then change can be possible. Okay, with performance management, you are sure to effect change. You know what's going on, you know how to proceed, and then in turn you will now effect change management. Okay, when you are carrying out a performance management system, or you're setting these procedures or processes in place, you must consider that, one, it must be thorough. Remember that I'd mentioned that you can't do things anyhow. Okay, so whatever anyhowness that is happening in the society or happening around workplaces must be discarded at all points. Okay, so as a performance management function, human resource function, as an HR practitioner, you must know that your performance management system, your structure, your procedure must be thorough. It must be practical. You should consider, the SMART acronym. It must be thorough, it must be practical, it must have meaning. Okay, you're not doing the appraisal for the sake of doing it. You are doing it towards achieving a certain goal. So if it's a performance management system or appraisal exercise towards promotion, then you know you have a goal. So it has meaning. If it is towards a transfer, if it is towards setting up another unit, and you know that this person is the best fit, you can use the performance management system to determine who is the best fit carrying out this particular exercise or being transferred to a certain department or for promotional purpose. So you must have meaning. It can also be for compensation and benefits, for increase in salary. So it must have meaning. Okay, then it must be strategic. It must be aligned to a particular organizational goal. I talked about the fact that it must be strategic, it must be thorough, it must be practical. Don't let it be vague. Okay, don't let it just be conceptual. Where it is, it cannot be interpreted, it cannot be felt, we can't feel it, so to speak. All right, it must be reliable. Whatever performance management system you are setting in place, or process you are setting in place, or activity you have chosen to set in place must be reliable. It must be valid. Okay, you must be able to determine that 1 + 1 is equals to 2. All right, I'm not a mathematician, I'm just saying, so that in case you're a mathematician and say, okay, there's another concept behind that calculation. All right, and then your performance management system must be acceptable by all. That is why we'll usually advise an HR practitioner, before you carry on a performance management practice or a system or an activity, what you should do, or an activity rather, what you should do is that you communicate the exercise ahead of time. Communicate with the employees, communicate with your subordinates, communicate with the executives. Let everyone be aware that that this exercise is about to take place, or this particular system is a structure that is adopted by the organization, and we have all accepted it. So it must be acceptable, and everyone must be involved. Okay, it has to be inclusive. It is not just the HR department that should take over the entire performance management system activity and say it's our own. Yes, you own the process, but it must include other departments. It must include everyone. It must be open. Okay, you will do it with an open mind. If you go on and if you carry on a performance management activity with a mind that is already biased, you are not going to come out with a good result. I must tell you that. So you must come out, everyone must come in with an open mind. Then encourage your employees not to also be biased, because sometimes, regardless of what the result might be, the employee will say, oh no, my superior, my manager already does not like me, and so whatever the result will be is going to be negative. So encourage the employee also to be open-minded, to have an open mind as to being involved in the entire process. Then your process must be correctable. So there are cases where certain performance management systems you cannot have a rigid system. So where things happen, you also have to make adjustments. So the system or the process or the step, the activity that you carried out last year, there is no way you will also use the same this year, because we believe that certain things should have changed. If your organization did not even change, the economy will tell you that things have changed. All right, new policies are being enacted right now. New bills are being passed from the top, and it has affected some organizations positively, some organizations negatively. For me, I don't even see anything as affecting negatively. What I see is that it's an open opportunity to make changes, to transition. I will always like to refer to what when COVID happened, to what COVID did. For some organization, it actually messed up things for some people. But for some organization like Lighthouse HR Company, it was an opportunity for us to pivot, to do other things, to, take up other processes, take up other systems that has taken us, across the globe. All right. So also is your performance management system. Your performance management system must be standard. It must not go outside the rule of law within the clients that in which that business, your business, or the business you are working with, the organization you are working with exists. It must be ethical. Remember, in initial sessions, we have talked about HR, ethical HR. Carrying out your activities ethically, not going against the standard, the human rights of people, your employees, the organization, the laws of the land, labor law, and every other law or standards or bills that surrounds the operations, the organization's operations. Then your performance management system must identify effectiveness and efficiency, ineffectiveness and inefficiency. It must identify poor performance, good performance, great performance, non-performance, or underperformance, regardless of whatever performance in category that your business or your company is working with. Now, it is important to know that performance management will require you collecting information, okay? And most frequently, when this information is collected, it is used as a tool to determine certain things. Salary administration must be considered. Performance management feedback must be considered. Identification of employee strengths and weaknesses must be considered. So at the end of your performance management exercise, as well as the entire system structure that you run in terms of performance management, it must consider salary administration. Whether it's salary administration for promotions, for transfers, increase of benefits and compensations, and all that is and anything that has to do with maybe financials, and all the extras, the perks that is attached to that particular position, you must consider it. You must be able to get feedback also. Where you do not have feedback on your performance management system, there is a problem. Then your performance management system or activity must identify employee strengths and weaknesses, because these are tools that you are to leverage, okay, in carrying out your performance management exercise. Now, there are cases where performance management is not conducted well. And in such cases, we call it poorly implemented performance management system or poorly implemented performance management appraisal exercise. Now, in such cases, what happens? Where you conduct your performance management exercise or appraisal system or the entire process entirely poorly, what happens is that you are at a disadvantage. HR, listen to me. You are at a disadvantage. If you're a CEO, you're a business owner and entrepreneur that needs to have this, this particular structure imbibed in your entire operational system, where you do it poorly, you are at a disadvantage. There's the possibility that your turnover, your employee turnover, meaning people leaving your organization, is at high, is increased. All right. The point is that where you do not have a properly structured performance management system or activity done, or the entire structure properly done, I don't want to say perfectly because there's no perfect system. we all evolve as time goes on. But when you have a poorly structured or poorly implemented performance management system, what happens is that your employees will exit your company at a high rate. You don't want to experience increased turnover. All right. Your performance management system, when also poorly done, will give you the wrong information. So you have misleading information that can cause a lot of havoc within the organization. All right, that's where I also mentioned where employees are saying that, oh, where you have a biased mindset, way ahead of even the exercise itself, or managers are already having that biased mindset and are saying, oh no, I can't do this. Once the regardless of what performance result comes out as regards that particular employee, you already shut down your mind to say that there's nothing good that can come out of these people or of this person. All right. So when you have a poorly structured performance management system, you will have misleading information. You will use misleading information and you are surely going to get a result that is going to mislead your decision-making process. Then you will have wasted time, you would have wasted money, you would have wasted energy. At the end of the period also, your employees, your superiors, everybody, or one person or the other, let me not say everybody, one person or the other will experience lowered self-esteem. Now, the idea of having a performance management system that is optimally effective and efficient is to not just also increase the self-esteem of your employees, is to build them up. Now, where you have found weaknesses, where you have found non-performance, underperformance, or poor performance, it's not that we're going to shut them down. No. But when you enter into the function of learning and development, training, motivating, mentoring these people, coaching these employees after a performance management appraisal exercise is carried out, what happens is that you will build up the self-esteem of the employee. People around will be happy and they will look forward to the next appraisal system because they want to see the result of their growth. Okay, where you have a poorly structured performance management system, what happens is that you damage relationships. Okay, relationships within the organization are damaged, are not encouraged. The employees are against the employer. The employer, I don't like that person, I don't like you, I don't like your face, I don't like how you look, I don't like how you do things, your results are poor. Okay, there are cases where yes, a properly structured performance management system exists, and yes, we are seeing poor performance based on the activities and the results. But we are not saying do this to chase them out. We are saying do this where they are open-minded and they are willing to take up better challenges, train them, encourage, motivate them, and give them another opportunity to find full expression within the organization. Then there's decreased motivation when such poorly implemented performance management system is carried out. Within the business, people are what? Not motivated, they are demotivated. Employees will experience job burnout as well as job dissatisfaction, and we do not want in any way to have this happen in our business. So HR practitioners, please bear in mind, you cannot afford to have a poorly implemented performance management system. That's why I said, please, you can't do things anyhow. Okay, you must be professional, you must be critical, you must be intentional about the things that you are doing in the workplace. Now, you don't want to increase the risk of litigation, maybe legal issues, where employees, you have heard of cases, so many cases where employees are dragging their employers. All right, there are cases where the employers themselves are dragging the employees. Now, because of what? Poor performance implementation. So get this straight and get this right from the beginning. So there are unjustified demands on managers and employees' resources. Why? Because the result right from time was wrong. People are treated unfairly. People are receiving unfair ratings because maybe you are biased, or because even when you are not biased, you want to do, but because you are in a hurry, lack of planning. All right, that's why we took the human resource practice program starting with HR planning, the HR function starting with HR planning. Because when you plan properly, accurately, adequately, all right, you will have fair dealings with your employees. So we also want to cut down every form of bias. So if we have people who are biased already, leave it there. Let's not give them opportunities to expand their bias or enlarge their ability to be biased against one another. Then you also have unclear rating system. I already talked about it, okay? So please bear all of these key critical things in mind. Now, let us look at performance management process. When you are setting up a performance management process, what should you consider? What are the critical areas that you must consider to have an advantageous performance management system and for the best? See you in the next session.